In this video, I'm going to talk about how to find a theme in a piece of literature and the difference between a theme or a topic. Now, the one of the things that I'll point out to you is that if you go online to look up various themes, oftentimes you will see people refer to themes in one word, right? And this is very common online. But I want to be clear that when you're speaking about literature in an English class, we want to think of a theme not as a single term or single word, but more as a statement. So let's look first at the difference between a topic and a theme. A topic is going to simply be a simple subject or a focus of a story. A theme is a message or a statement about life. So right away, the difference between a topic and a topic is usually expressed in one word or a phrase. A theme is a statement. It's going to be a complete sentence. A topic is specific to the story. It relates specifically to the characters and the events in the story. A theme is stated as a universal idea. So that means that when you identify a theme, it's going to be a statement that will apply to all people. Now we'll see it play out through the characters in the story, but really the message applies to all people. A topic is clearly identified. It's obvious when you read the story. There'll be several specific topics that are identified. A theme requires a little bit more thought. You kind of have to go, okay, what is happening in the story? What are the topics that are covered? Now, how can I turn that? How can I change that into a theme statement? A topic, again, is typically written as a single word or a short phrase. The big thing here that I want to impart with you guys is that in literary circles, a theme is typically written as a full statement or a sentence. So let's take example, the novel that we read in the first semester, Bad Boy. If we take a topic from that story, perseverance, right? This ability to continue trudging forward despite the challenges put in front of you. Okay, what do we see related to perseverance in that story? Well, we know that Walter had a unique family structure. He did not have many friends growing up. He felt insecure about his speaking disability. He struggled finding acceptance, not only in his own family, but kids his age. And in the end, Walter became an award-winning author who won multiple awards and wrote many books. Okay, so despite those difficulties, he went on to be quite successful. Okay, so how can I turn that into a theme, a statement? I could go, okay, perseverance is important. Well, sure, it's a statement, but it's just generally vague. All that is just kind of taking that topic and just slapping the word important on there. It's okay as a theme, but it's actually kind of weak. I could say Walter's perseverance helped him succeed, but then that wouldn't really be a true theme statement because that's not written as a universal statement. That applies specifically to Walter, right? And a theme needs to be universal. It needs to apply to all people. So what if I said something like, perseverance in the face of adversity can make a person stronger? Well, you know what? That's a true statement about all people. When we face adversity, when we face challenges, if we continue to fight forward, it's going to make us stronger. That's not just specific to Walter. We see that play out in the story, but that applies to you and me as well. Here's another way we can say it. We could say perseverance can help us overcome even the toughest challenges. No matter what Walter faced in life, he overcame those challenges, but it's not just a Walter thing, it's all of us. If we have perseverance, we show that perseverance, we can overcome the toughest challenges. So those two examples would be examples of themes that are written pretty well. If we look at The Treasure of Lemon Brown, a story that we read a couple of weeks ago, we can say, okay, a topic is treasures, right? What do we see in the story? Well, nobody knew Lemon's treasure. Kids did not understand Lemon's treasure. Greg did not consider Lemon's treasure valuable at first, right? Lemon guarded his treasure with his life, though, and his treasure was his most valuable possession. All right, so if the topic is treasures, and this is how we see treasures play out in the story, how can we turn this into a universal theme statement, something that applies to us all? Well, again, we can go, we all have treasures. Well, okay, that's kind of a theme statement, and it certainly is true, but it's probably not the strongest way we can word that. We could say, take care of your treasures and make it more of a piece of advice. Okay, certainly people take care of their treasures, but again, probably not the strongest way to word that universal statement. How about something like this? People place their own value on things that are important to them. Well, okay, that's a little bit better. If you think of the journal that we did before we read that story, some of the things that people identified having value, a stuffed animal, a blanket that maybe they have, something that maybe a family member gave to them. Not everybody would consider this valuable, but if you're the owner of that thing, you place your own value on that. That seems like a universal statement that would apply to all of us. How about this one? Money alone does not determine value. I think that's a good one. We look at Lemon Brown's treasure, some newspaper clippings, and a beat up harmonica. Has absolutely no monetary value, but for him, it was the most important thing that he owned. So this would be an example of a universal theme. Okay. Well, what if we took another topic from the story, The Treasure of Lemon Brown? Family is certainly another topic in this story. We see it played out on two sides. Greg and his father and his relationship with his family, and Lemon and his relationship with his son and what he was able and wasn't able to give his son. So again, if we wanted to turn that into a theme statement, we would see how that played out in the story, and we might be able to come up with something like family has greater value than monetary things, right? So that's another theme that we could identify in that story. So it's not that there's just one theme in a story. There's several ways to come to a theme in a story. There may not be total agreement, but if you can look at it and go, here's a topic, this is how it plays out, and so this is what I think it's showing about all people, well, then you've identified a theme. What about perceptions, the way we view people? Well, we could see how that plays out in the story as well, and maybe say, you know what? Sometimes our first perceptions are inaccurate, but an open mind can allow us to correct them. What did Greg think about Lemon Brown when he saw the way the man looked, his appearance, his situation in life? Then what does he think about Lemon Brown at the end of that story? I think this probably applies to all of us. We can judge by initial perceptions, initial appearance, but keeping an open mind will always or often allow us to change what we initially believe. So it's a statement that would apply to all of us. Here's a story that we read earlier in this year, The Ants and the Grasshopper, if you remember this one. And we look at what happens in this story if we take the topic as work versus play. All right, so what happens? The ants complete the tasks they have to complete. They gather their food all summer. The grasshopper puts off what he has to do and instead only does what he wants to do, which is play music. Okay, so in the end, the ants benefit from their decision. When the winter comes, they've got food. The grasshopper suffers from his decision. He doesn't have any food to eat at the end. All right, so how can we make this a universal theme? It's not really about ants and grasshoppers. Maybe we could say something like, it's wiser to do what we must before doing what we want. Or maybe we could say, procrastinating only creates stress down the line. Or maybe we could say, the easiest path rarely leads to the best destination. Right? Now, all three of those at the bottom there, those weren't stated in the story, but if you take the topic and see how that topic plays out, think about all people, create that universal statement, then you have a theme.